less hair. I used to have hair, you could see it. Oh, the locks were flowing. Okay, good. This was a book that I just published a couple of years ago, and it's called Lost and Found. And well, the story behind this is that these pictures were available to go into my Facing New York book, but I didn't think they were good enough or whatever to go in the book. And some of them were definitely good enough to go in the book, but I think I was concentrating more on flash than I was on the quality of a photograph. But also, why we say lost and found is I lost at least 200 rolls. I found contacts, but I don't have the negatives. So that was... And sometimes when I'd look at Magnum through the negative, because they were at my house, and God knows where we stored them. I mean, I'm totally unorganized. I mean, I'm dumb about that. And you pay for your dumbness. But what happened is sometimes I'd go home at night, and we found the contact, but we couldn't find the negative. And then the next day, sometimes we found the negative. I was so happy. Okay, here we go. Gypsies in the car. See, no flash, available light, but any light is available. Flash is available light too, because it's available, so you can use it. I like this picture because to me, I guess the lady's a little crazy, and she's screaming on the phone. And what I like about it, this is with the period, like, I think late 70s, where Gerald Ford told New York City to go fuck themselves, you know. And, well, he didn't say fuck themselves, but he used another terrible word. And you can see that in this picture, you're on Park Avenue now. Look at the sign. Park Avenue at 57th Street, if the sign is falling down like that, wow, can you imagine what the rest of the city is like? And I also like, of course I didn't know any of this at the time, that these people would be there. I probably didn't even know that these people are there. But they're walking away from her, like, you know, they know she's crazy. They don't give a shit. They're dressed well and, you know, fuck the rest of the world, okay. The Brothers. This is a picture of mine that's quite popular. A lot of people buy it. And I think it's a very cliched picture. You know, I don't think it's a great picture, but it makes me smile every time. You have these two, I assume they're brothers. The peep show there, you know, they're getting into their car because they just left the peep show. And the only reason I can figure that they're smiling is because who is this fucking guy coming with his camera taking their picture? So I must have had a little dialogue with them, you know, and people don't realize that sometimes when you're in the street, you have to have a good bedside manner to get the pictures, because not, you know, and they were quite cool with it. And in a lot of lost or found pictures, I love the signs, the signage, you know, the stores, the windows, you know, it's a time that it's never going to come back that time. So it becomes really a document of the times. I like that. And here we go again. Face chopped off, cut off. If it wasn't cut off, it wouldn't be a stronger picture. And that's why I like using the rangefinder. Nothing is exact. But you have to learn how to use everything. Knox hats, hat. And I looked on the contact sheet, and there was like 5 or 6 pictures of these people, and this is the only one with the hand up, and I think that's the last one. So they must have then gone across the street. The light must have changed. And none of these have flash. I can never figure out if they're religious Jews or transvestites, but I'm almost sure this was taken on Delancey Street, and they're religious Jews. This is interesting because it's a weird picture. I mean, what the fuck is going on in this picture? This is taken in the street. It almost looks like it's taken in a showroom. I mean, look at that picture. It's weird. Everything is compressed. And the girl's looking at me. New York City, my lifetime work. Well, now I've stopped photographing New York City. It's changed. I call him Lefty Louie. I saw him coming from a block away. It was great. He looked like a slinky, you know, the way he walks. He made the picture, but I did a great crop. I was lucky. And again, the arm touching the side. And my pictures are all full frame. And when I look at this, I can see an updated version of The Gambler by Lisette Model, a dark-faced guy giving her a dirty look, sitting on a chair in Nice in France with his leg crossed like that. And it's funny because that picture I've seen, you know, where the bottom of the frame is up to his shoe. Then I've seen it where how it was originally taken, and she's much further away. But to me, it's okay, crop. Fine, but I like to not crop because then it shows how good I am athletically at getting it the way I want it. But don't forget, most pictures that I take, I don't get the way I want, you know. This I like. Interesting about this picture is there's a dance. The gentleman with the carts going this way, the dog's going that way, yet all the tension is in the center. And that's very interesting because he's going that way, guy this way, but the tension's in the center. San Gennaro, this picture and the next one were both taken on the same roll. I mean, two of my best pictures taken on the same roll. But that's interesting because when you're in the flow, you're in the flow. You know, when you're not in the flow, you're not. But this picture, I have an interesting take on it. I think that this gentleman is trying to rob her. He's looking away. The girl is looking in front over to see if anyone's watching. You know what I mean? It's my take on it, and I trust my intuition. Look at her ash. She wouldn't know what the hell's going on in life, okay? There's the next one. That's I call it, even though my picture's untitled, I call it Best Street. Because that's New York, and it's got an egg cream in the background. Yes, egg creams, milk, chocolate syrup, and seltzer. New York, yay, egg cream. Fox's You Bet syrup you have to use, though. Otherwise, you ain't a New Yorker. Don't tell me you're a New Yorker and you come here for 2 years from fucking Des Moines, Iowa. That's bullshit, baby. Okay. This guy got down and just started boxing like that, and what I like about it is this guy this was at a Greek-American parade, I think, or Greek parade, and, you know, he's just standing there with his hand in his pocket, you know, very arrogantly, couldn't care if the guy was dying there. This is Moonies proselytizing on 34th Street. I call this, again, my pictures are untitled, but I would call this the Bridal Cake. These look like a silhouette. They look like two figures on top of a bridal cake. And that's, the guy has his eyes closed, and he's comment on male-female relationships or relationships. But then someone pointed out that this guy's probably blind, and he's right. But I look at my pictures closely, but not too closely. If I like them, I like them, okay? I don't have to know everything. Because to me, the important thing in looking at a picture is a picture that makes you tell a story about what's in the frame. And everybody's story is different. My story will be different from your story. And your story might be different from someone else's story. Japanese racketeers. We don't know if they're racketeers or not, but that's what they seem like to me. Look at those nice little shiny suits, the cigarette, how he's looking at me. Again, flash. I call that fake mustache. It looked like everything. It's like, that's really not his wife. He doesn't want anyone to know who he really is. Fake mustache, looks like a wig. Looks like she's got a wig. I mean, I like this picture. The giant. This speaks to me of perseverance. I know you're looking at me, don't understand why, okay, but the reason it speaks to perseverance is because it was about 12 degrees out, and at that time for years I never wore gloves. That's why I have arthritis in my hands now for so many years, holding a metal camera and a flash all day long in the cold. Okay, it doesn't do very good for your circulation. But, so it was 12 degrees. I took about 7 pictures. It was middle of January. It was fucking freezing. And I saw this little lady come out with this tall guy from, you know, one of the elite stores on 57th Street. I ran across the street and I got this picture. And I love that I cropped him off like that because he's so big in it and everything is condensed into the frame. This was taken the day they opened up Wall Street after 9/11. Look how well dressed he is. He looks totally distraught. But I have a feeling, if I remember correctly, this guy, he's not going on all his cylinders, okay? But you don't see that. A nice-looking guy, you know, with the coat. Maybe I misread it, but I don't think I misread it. It's my opinion. Ah, Mrs. America. I see her all the time. I used to see her, not now because I don't photograph, I see her quite often. And I really like this picture. It's a beautiful print too when it's done correctly. And you have the flag. Now you see this picture, I love the angle I took. And I probably didn't know the flag was in the picture, but that makes the picture. It's the details that help make a good picture better.